Why hello YouTube! Greetings from the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer, and welcome to the March 2015 review! Woot woot! And before we get to the figure, let's start off with the box! This is a review for none other than Jetfire, who I honestly thought was going to be Voyager class, so when I saw the $19.99 price tag at Walmart, I hummed and hawed thinking $20 was an okay price for a Voyager. Then I got it home, found out it was a leader, and then went back to Walmart to discover that it was a price error. Woohoo! Good timing for the win! So yes, this is a leader class box, and about the same size as the Masterpiece Grimlock box. Look out for that review sometime soon, by the way. An MP Thundercracker, which surprisingly is smaller than the Jetfire box. Anyway, enough about boxes. On to the meat and potatoes of this review. The bread and butter, if you will. The second, the better, 2015 Jetfire. Leader class Jetfire appears to me to be roughly based on the F-22 Raptor that movie Starscream had an alt mode for. And if the movie line had have based their figures off of this mold, it would have been stinking epic. But thankfully, we get the privilege of having this mold for a better character, and Thundercracker as well, in the near future. As far as jet mode goes, this is a pretty stellar plane. From this 3/4 view and the side profile of the front, we get an awesome silhouette of a plane of this nature. Everything looks good, right up to the back. The plane itself is great, but the back just looks like a jet with a whole bunch of extra steel the engineers had a surplus of and had to add somewhere to hit their quota for the month. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't have been given enough steel for their projects for next month. So, Jetfire gets to suffer from the design flaw of stingy managers. But back to an awesome view. Head on front looks spectacular. From the winged guns to the side air intakes to the way Jetfire's weird red fast pack type thingamajig looks nestled on his back. Yes, this truly is one of the better plane alt modes that have come out for this line in the 2010s. Even the underside, which isn't all that great, but at least does its best to keep itself neat and tidy, unless we're talking about the back, in which case, those production managers can take a hike. We covered that already. Vehicle articulation, because all good plane transformers should have it, includes a working front landing gear. It has rear landing gear as well, but they'll always be out. And while we're here, a fifth gun can be pegged in the bottom of the nose cone to make probably the dumbest weapon mount ever on a plane. Like, does that even look like it could take on anything more than 2 Gs? Other articulation includes an opening cockpit with a fairly well-detailed interior for absolutely nobody to sit in there, like neither Spike or the MP holopilots will fit in there. Wings that fold back for like a supersonic mode or something. Fins that fold down for no other reason than transformation. And finally, fast pack thruster articulation in case he wants to make some of those sharper dips. Otherwise, you can remove the fast pack and have a really sweet looking F-22 Raptor-esque fighter jet. And if I'm totally off base with the plane classification, then I'm sure I'll get a flood of comments putting me in my place about what's what. Seems to be the norm lately when I screw up. Oh well, that's what I get for having a bigger crowd. On to transformation. First, retract the landing gear, then detach the entire nose cone and swing it up and around. Flip these panels in the intakes up, then swing that entire section down. Fold down the tail fins and swing the entire rear section around on an accordion hinge. On the bottom, swing the legs around. Move the arms up and then out so that they're not in the way. Then move the entire intake assembly up to form the chest. Rotate the hips into place until they're in line with the torso, and then peg them into place, as well as putting the shoulders into place. Rotate the head around, unfold the feet from the lower legs. On his back, swing around that fast pack thing, or just reapply it if you took it off, so it points up, and move the cockpit into place, which I should mention is not the same cockpit glass you see on his chest. Man, do I hate full part transformations. Regardless, here we have the new 2015 Jetfire, or as the G1 calls him, Skyfire. And man, this thing is huge. Leader class, in fact. And am I ever thankful that it is? Mainly because the last one, which I never owned, was Voyager-sized, and Skyfire is supposed to be huge. Like, here he is compared to the original Classics Optimus. And finally, do we get a properly scaled Generation Skyfire. Although again, this is one of those issues that Astrotrain also had with mass shifting. Because I know for a fact that Optimus is never riding shotgun inside Skyfire here. But I'm okay with that, really. I can use trick photography for the alt mode should this ever be in a short. I'm just glad the figures themselves scale well. But that being said, I also don't mind the scaling with the MP line too. Here he is next to MP Soundwave, and although it's definitely not perfect by any means, I can definitely live with that scale. Same with MP Skywarp here. And yes, I promise this will get reviewed at some point. So let's move on to another cool feature. Accessories. Jetfire comes with, count 'em, 5 guns. a primary blaster, 2 miniguns, and 2 gun-type things that are mainly supposed to go on his legs when he's in flight mode. However, you can combine all the guns to make a super gun. Personally though, when it's all combined, it kinda reminds me of that shit from Galaga. Even more so when your fighter is abducted. However, they're on 5mm ports, and there are many of them, which means he gets to have all the toys mounted on him. Scientist my butt, this is pretty much the new Ironhide now. So how about another accessory? Well, the face itself is one. The antenna-equipped battle mask, which comes pre-installed in-box, can come off and, oh, there's Skyfire. Hard to tell with that crazy awesome battle mask. Like seriously, this would make just about any bot look cool. G1 Blaster becomes G1 Blast Master. How about Skywarp? With the battle mask applied, he becomes Skywarp. Because seriously, this guy already maxed out on the awesome. You can't get more awesome than that. So back to Skyfire here. I love how they've perfectly captured the face of the Autobot scientist. It looks sort of stoic, and yet interested in the scientific world around him. I totally love it! So while we're here, let's cover the articulation. Head is on a similar swivel and tilt joint that the Masterpiece line has been featuring lately, and man, can he ever look up! I mean, my goodness, is this ever a dynamic range of head? It doesn't tilt, but I haven't cared about that since 29. The shoulders are on a swivel joint with a separate joint for outward movement that breaks up the shoulder pads in a really awesome way, so that it's not too intrusive visually. However, still retains some amazing range. Elbow bends just past 90 degrees on a fairly competent ratchet joint, one that I'm not afraid will strip down over time like that atrocious War for Cybertron Jazz figure, that also got a side swipe retool that I cared even less about. And a bicep swivel. However, for some reason, there's no articulation in the hand. They don't open, or swivel, or do anything, really. I'm okay with it, it just seems weird. Either way, Jetfire fist pump. Booyah! Legs can move forward and back a little, outward a lot, swivel at the thigh, and bend at the knee. He can also move forward and back on his foot, but not side to side. Meh. I'm not too concerned over that, because he can totally Iron Man! Pull off the Bay Mode Battle Mode look, knee Skywarp where the sun don't shine. Work on Optimus with his fellow scientist brethren during that super depressing Optimus death scene. But because in this version, Ratchet, Skyfire, and Wheeljack didn't die, he gets to live. Sweet! So that's my review for a leader class Jetfire Skyfire. He's one awesome figure at a price I wasn't expecting. Seriously, when I saw the price, I thought I was getting a Voyager. I feel he scales well enough with the MP figures, well enough that I'm satisfied anyway, and definitely scales well with the Classics line, unless we're talking about Astrotrain, in which case he's
still too small.
Anyway, this has been the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer. Doodles!